rest, I promise to keep my remarks down below 5 hours. So make yourself comfortable. Deb, your impact on so many people, the legacy you're leaving. I tried to jot down some words about my thoughts about you, and I failed. I was having trouble putting my thoughts into words. But please know how lucky I am that you've been such a wonderful friend and mentor to me. It's not lost on me, and I really haven't talked to Deb or Steve about this, but of the group of wonderful honorees this year, and boy, what an engaging group of people were named this year. I got to meet them and chat with them yesterday. But since 2016, I'm the only radio news person so honored, which is a wonderful thing. But it also, on the other hand, I think the way radio news is going, I may be the last honoree who spent most of his life in radio news, and that's sad. I'm so proud to have been a part of full-service local radio stations that the community felt was a public utility, sort of, providing key information and all that. It's been incredibly rewarding, both at WSDR in Sterling and WJBC in Bloomington. And I must tell you that when I worked at WJBC, I was one of 7 staffers who worked so hard to provide this community with information. How many people now work in news at WJBC? 0. They have 2 full-time employees who work very hard, but there's 1 wonderful morning show host and 1 afternoon drive host. That's it. Just recently, CBS announced it was shutting down CBS Radio News. I grew up with that news service. That's Edward R. Murrow's network. Of course, I wasn't around, trust me. I wasn't around when Edward R. Murrow broadcasted reports from London during World War II. But my mother, I don't know where she bought it, but I must have been 10 years or younger. She bought me an album, a vinyl album called I Can Hear It Now, narrated by Murrow, featuring the sound of CBS radio news coverage of events related to the Depression and World War II. And I'm thinking that was a key moment in where my passion was. I think of that album, I think of Cronkite covering the space program, I think of Jack Brookhouse broadcasting the Cubs. Anyone old enough to remember Jack Brookhouse?
Oh, yeah. Hey, hey!
Hey, hey! David Brinkley covering political conventions, and my hero Jim McKay covering the Olympics. So I developed a passion, and I learned how to write news. Writing is very important. I learned how to write because I just heard how stories were written and how they were formulated, and I think that has a lot to do with someone said recently, a couple of years ago, and someone here will know the name Tanya. She said, "I'm the cleanest writer she's ever seen." What a compliment that was.